I've been investing in the stock market ever since I started making money at 15 years old, and since then, I've made a lot of unusual investments, either resulting in really good or really bad financial decisions. So on that note, this video is not going to be your typical investment portfolio reveal. I have a huge percentage of my net worth in crypto, along with some income-producing investments a lot of people stay away from. Starting things off, my first and most proud investment is my personal house. I haven't made a video about it since I originally bought the house back in August of 2023, so let me give you guys a tour. Starting things off, guys, be sure to wipe your paws. Now let's head inside. This property features a living room, one singular bathroom, my bedroom, an office, an unfinished basement with lots of potential, and an upstairs that I rent out to my friend, which isn't in the best condition right now. I rent this upstairs area to my friend for $750 a month, which helps pay for the mortgage and other home expenses that I'm about to get into next. So when I bought the property, I put a staggering $50,000 down, or roughly 20% after closing costs. And the purchase price for this property was $225,000. Now I know for a lot of you guys in the US that may seem like really cheap prices, but I promise you guys I'm not in the hood. I'm just located in the Midwest in a city known as Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is facing a plethora of issues. From a declining population to teenage criminals to a whopping $4.4 billion financial hole with only $1.1 billion of assets. Definitely not the best from an investment standpoint, as property taxes have risen year over year to cover things like pensions for city workers, school funding, or even the police force. So this is definitely something to consider if you're looking to buy a house that'll appreciate in value. Like for example, I just got a letter in the mail warning me of a reassessed value of my house and a property tax increase. So now instead of paying $3,700 annually, I'm paying $5,200 every year. But even with that, the property is currently worth $246,900 according to Zillow, which I'm sure is not 100% accurate, but assuming this is, I have roughly $72,000 of equity in this house. My principal and interest payment on this house monthly is $1,228 at 7.25% interest, and after accounting for expenses like property taxes and insurance, my total monthly cost comes out to $1,749. But remember, I'm renting that room to my friend for $750 per month, so that means my mortgage payment is at minimum $1,000 monthly. This is a much cheaper cost than my old apartment, where I paid almost $2,000 a month for 2 bedrooms, and on top of that, I've been throwing extra payments at the principal of this mortgage every month in hopes of getting it paid off sooner. Real estate takes up roughly 35% of my overall portfolio, but this next place that I put my money over the years is the stock market. I actually bought my first stock at the age of 15 years old, thanks to some help from my dad who opened up a custodial account for me. And currently, roughly 75% of my overall stock market portfolio is put into one singular ETF, VOO. This is essentially an S&P 500 ETF that tracks the general market, and it's considered very safe by most people. Warren Buffett even said himself in a 2007 interview that he'd bet $1 million that an S&P 500 ETF would outperform any hand-picked basket of stocks by a hedge fund over a 10-year period. And now, more than 10 years later, he's essentially proven to be right. You can see the total value of this account is a little over $40,000, and that's split between an individual brokerage account and a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA is probably what I would recommend to anyone looking to get started with investing, as it's an account you can put money into every single year, and when you reach the retirement age of 59 and a half, you can withdraw your money along with the gains completely tax-free. It's basically a way to hack the system throughout your lifetime, but it's so good that the government has capped your contribution limit to $7,000 annually. Luckily, I've essentially been maxing my Roth IRA out since I was 18 years old, and you guys can see on this account we have a balance of $25,000, all put into, you guessed it, VOO, with total gains so far of 17.26%. But moving to a more fun portfolio, this brokerage account has stocks I've been holding as far back as high school, like Meta, Apple, Nike, Robinhood, Snapchat, or even Carnival Cruise Line, which is a stock I bought before COVID, and it still hasn't recovered. Overall on this account, we were basically at break even, but I did take some hefty profits on stocks like Dave & Buster's, which was over a 100% gain. So overall, I'd say we're in the green. Now moving on to the biggest piece of my portfolio, which I'm sure everyone's excited about, and that's crypto. Crypto has proven to be a very volatile asset over the last few years, but if you held up until today, you're up pretty heavily. And taking a look at just my Coinbase account right now, you can see we have a little over 0.4 Bitcoin and 1 Ethereum, valued at over $30,000. At the peak of this account just a few weeks ago when crypto was booming, it saw an all-time high of $33,000, but even with the recent dip, you can see my gains on Bitcoin are over $10,000 or 70%. Crypto is by far the asset I understand the most about, and I have the belief that it's going to outperform pretty much any other asset going into the future, and that's why I have such a large percentage of my net worth invested into it. But if you guys guys think that's my entire crypto portfolio, then you'd be mistaken, because if we've learned anything over the last few years, it's that holding your coins on exchanges can be risky. And that's why I keep the majority of my Bitcoin on a Ledger Nano cold storage wallet. This is a cold storage device that makes your crypto truly your own. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. There are tons of similar products, but remember the phrase, not your keys, not your crypto, because at any time a crypto exchange you're holding your coins on could go bust, and that money is not FDIC insured.
FTX went from a $32 billion company to bankruptcy. Sam Bankman-Fried is stepping down as CEO. The 30-year-old tweeted this morning. He says, "I'm really sorry again that we ended up here. Hopefully things can find a way to recover, and this can bring some amount of transparency, trust, and governance to customers."
We saw this happen again and again with FTX, Celsius, and Voyager all going bankrupt and customers losing their funds. So keeping roughly 0.8 Bitcoin on this device, or $49,000, gives me some peace of mind in case Coinbase ever went bankrupt, which I highly doubt will happen. That brings my total crypto portfolio to $79,000, or roughly 40% of my overall net worth. Now, experts say you shouldn't have more than 5 to 10% of your net worth in crypto, all the way down to 0%.
You're speculating, gambling against the American dollar, because there's no rhyme or reason for this.
And you can see I've far surpassed that number, because lately we've been seeing massive inflation in our economy.
Simply flooded the system with money.
Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
As a central bank, we have the ability to create money digitally, and we do that by buying treasury bills.
With 40% of all US dollars being printed between the years of 2020 and 2021, I think we have a major problem. Our money used to be backed by a gold standard, and every other country in the world was backed by, you guessed it, the US dollar. But since 1973, when President Nixon took us off the gold standard, we began seeing massive inflation, with our money being worth less year over year, whereas assets like gold, stocks, and now Bitcoin have seen dramatic rise in prices. Now, although Bitcoin is not backed by any asset or physical commodity like gold, it's backed by a monetary policy that decreases its supply over time, along with billions of dollars of Bitcoin miners that secure payments on the Bitcoin network for its users. And I'm proudly a part of that system with 2 ASIC miners I run at my friend JP's facility, generating roughly $900 monthly, along with 2 miners I run at my house, in both my office right here and my basement. So the last few years, I've essentially been scooping up as much of this scarce asset as possible, exchanging dollars, which are essentially guaranteed to go down in value over time. It currently takes roughly 266,000 kilowatts of energy to mine just 1 Bitcoin. That's roughly a cost of $15,000 depending on your electricity costs, but that number will jump to $30,000 once the Bitcoin halving event takes place just 2 days from now. So with an increased cost for crypto mining, the price should go up. Then in 4 years, once again, Bitcoin mining will become half as effective, with half as many Bitcoin being released for the same amount of machinery and overhead expenses. Now, obviously, these numbers are dependent on how many miners are running and ultimately the demand among buyers, but every metric is telling me that Bitcoin is bound to go up over time. But after a recent $25,000 tax bill I had to pay to a government that has no understanding of economic policy, with massive deficits year over year, I don't really have a whole lot more money to invest, but hopefully soon. I hope this video helped you guys learn something new. Be sure to drop a like if you enjoyed it, and also if you guys are looking to buy Bitcoin, be sure to use the top link down below to get up to a $200 bonus with Coinbase. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.